Hi guys, this is my 5th Halloween card for 2014, and I'm going to be using the Creative Critter 2 Cricut cartridge for this. And I'll be using that Halloween, or that haunted house there on page 56, and then the monsters and Monster Bash and the fence that you saw there on page 51. So there's one of the little monsters, and there I had cut out all the layers from the cartridge. And there it looks a little odd, but that is I just colored in that white piece so it would have the black behind them, since I didn't have any black cardstock with me. So I just did that, and now I'm adding the rest of the layers to his body. And those are just his little feet. And the layers, that green paper is from the Pebbles Tricks and Treats paper pad. Now I'm just adding a tiny bit of detail with Crayola marker just to highlight those cut marks that the Cricut had made. And here's the second monster, and you'll see a little bit more of him in a second. But here I'm cutting out that Polaroid frame, and that is the Lawn Fawn Say Cheese die. And I just got a scrap piece of paper that I had, since I just wanted a white frame, so I just used the back of that. And I cut it out with just some regular white cardstock, like you can see there. Then here you can see some watercolor paper, and I wanted to do a bit of watercoloring inside, so I ran the frame again through with the watercolor paper. And you can see that there. So I'll just put the frame away and use the inside for this card. So here's that little scene I wanted to make in there. And first I am going to be marking with a pencil on the paper, just so I can have an idea of where I want the ground to be and where I want the sky to be. So I just did that. And there I have my little frame where I can watercolor on. And I'm using the Michaels watercolor palette, and you can see it there. And I'm also using this thicker watercolor brush from Tim Holtz. And there I was just getting some water flowing out so I can color better. And I wanted to make it look a little bit like a sunset sky, so I used some mustard colors, and then I used the more orangey color at the top. And then at the very top I used a dark purple, which had dried kind of pinkish, but that was alright. So I'm just coloring it and trying to get it to blend as good as possible. So I got that purple color all over the card so it would look more blended. And now I'm going to be coloring the grass, and I'm just using a dark green color from the Michaels watercolor pack, and I'm doing a kind of like a hill on there. And you can see it there. And I'm just adding a little bit more green on the card. So that's that for the watercoloring. And I'm just wiping off my desk, and it's a little wet now, so I'll put it off to the side and work with it later. Now I'm going to get the paper onto my card base. This is a 5 by 7 inch card base, and I'm using the Recollections 110 pound cardstock. And that's a really nice cardstock for a card base, really nice and thick and a nice heavy weight. So that's what I'll be using for the card base. And here I just cut off 2 pieces of paper, and that's from a 6 by 6 paper pad, so I did have to get a little bit creative since it is a 7 inch wide card. So there's the different papers, and I'll show in a second from what paper pads those are from. So now I'm just going to cut off the excess, since there's a little bit hanging off the card and I didn't want that there, so I just cut it off with my Martha Stewart scissors. Or no, I think those are EK Success scissors. So there is the base, and now I'm just going to add this piece just to finish off the front of the card. And I'm using this small glue runner. I'll try to use something like that for the rest of my card process so you won't have to see that big ATG gun on the videos. But there is the base of my card. It's finished. So you can see there that mustard yellow paper is from the Basic Gray Grand Bazaar, as you just saw. And then that purple paper is from the Bo Bunny Autumn Song paper pad. Now I'm going to be adding my little monsters, and I wanted to add some googly eyes. I have not used my googly eyes in a long time, and like I said in previous videos, I really want to use some things that have been neglected. So here I took out my stash of googly eyes and tried to get the same size so it wouldn't look so odd. So there, I'm just using my Zig two-way pen and adding those googly eyes on there. And I thought they looked cute like that, so I added the other googly eyes to this monster as well. And again, just using my Zig two-way pen to adhere it. And now I'm going to be adding my Polaroid frame since the watercolor piece is dry. So now I'm adding some adhesive, but I'm having a bit of trouble, so I'm just going to get my Zig two-way pen again and just go around the edges that were left over. And I'll add that on the top right corner. Now I want to add my little scene in there, but it looked a little strange, so after I added the adhesive, I went around it with some black ink so it would stand out a little bit more. And I just positioned it there in the middle, and you can see it there. Now I'll be adding the haunted house, and I'm just going to ink around it a little bit with my We Are Memory Keepers Sweetheart Inker. It's the black one. Just a little bit I went over just to give it a little bit more detail to it. Not too much, but. And now I'm just adding the adhesive to it. And I forgot to erase those pencil lines, but you can't see them, so it wasn't a big deal. I didn't want to mess around with the whole card just to try to erase those pencil lines. So here I have the little pieces of fence that I had cut out from the Create a Critter 2 cartridge, and also the sentiment that says Monster Bash, which is also from that cartridge. And I ran it through my Xyron and just had to take it off there and take off some of the adhesive gunk that gets stuck on there. And now I'm just adhering it onto the Polaroid frame. And I just pressed it down, and now I'm going to add my little monsters on there, and I'm using some, I forget what that's called. I think it's from Scotch, but it's a foam tape. So I'm just pressing it down, and I just added some Zig two-way to his feet because I didn't want that to be popped up. Here I added a little bit of black ink around the monster and just cutting off some excess white piece that was behind him. And now I'm adding some foam tape as well to the back of him so he'll be popped up. And I'm just tucking his arm a little bit behind the other monster so it looks like they're friends going to a party. And now I'm going to add the sentiment, and first I'll be adding the monster sentiment and then just glue down a little bit of the R since it hadn't adhered well. And now I'll be adding the bash part of it, and as you can see the S had broken off, so I just ran that through the Xyron as well and positioned it so it wouldn't look like it had broken. Now I'm just taking off some of that adhesive gunk, and I just took out my pencil and used my eraser to get that adhesive off of there. Now I'm going to finish off the inside first since I knew that I wanted to add stickles and enamel accents on the outside, so I wanted to finish off the inside so I could just put it to the side and let it dry. And these papers are from Cloud9 Design, and I just tore them and inked them up and just added them on the inside. I thought it would give a more rugged look. I added a few pumpkins on the inside as well. Those are from Jolie's. And now I add these little gems, and I looked at it and I thought it looked like a lock to the gate, so I left it like that so it would look like that's the lock to the gate. And then I'm adding some yellow stickles to the card, just to the moon and the windows, and then I added a few so it looks like a few stars in the sky. And now I'll add some purple ones, and I wanted this to look like streamers, so I just added a little bit. And here you can see it cut off so you don't see me doing the rest of the card, because my memory card was full, so I wasn't able to finish it. But all I did was add some more streamers with my stickles, and I filled out the Monster Bash sentiment with some diamond stickles, and I also filled out the monster's hat and the other one's antennas with my black enamel accents. And that's what I did to the outside. And on the inside I added a few more pumpkins. So that is my card, and thanks for watching. Bye!